Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Triple Take, the official podcast of TripleCyber, where we're triple enabling the internet. I'm Noelle, and today I'm sitting down with the CEO and founder of TripleCyber, Manny Rivera. Mr. Rivera, thank you for being here. Before we get into your work at TripleCyber, can you tell us a little bit about your military background as well as your PhD research?
Sure. I spent 24 years in the Army. My last 10 years with the Army CIOG-6, I was doing enterprise architecture and integration for them, and I ended up retiring from the CIO after 24 years.
And what was your journey from military service to founding a cybersecurity company?
That was a long journey. I've always been software engineering all my life, pretty much. I used to tinker around with a lot of computers. I used to break them, take them apart, break them. But cybersecurity and security has always been something that I've always wanted to do. That's how come I decided to go after my PhD work at George Washington University while I was at the CIOG-6, as a matter of fact. But I've always have a very curious mind, and cybersecurity and computer science has always been something that I wanted to learn. So that journey was pretty easy for me once I transitioned from the military into the civilian sector.
And let's talk about the genesis of TripleEnablement. What made you come up with the TripleEnablement process?
That's a great question. I remember I was in the CIOG-6, and I was also working on my PhD work at GW. One of the key research areas I was doing was sensor security, how to deploy sensors on a mesh network uninterrupted and displaced. That means that if I place sensors unattended, if somebody will come and take that sensor and inject some type of malicious code into the sensor, how will the sensor protect itself? So I came up with an algorithm where I deploy 3 separate types of sensors. One is anonymous, the other sensors will be verified, and the other will be secure, with a percentage of sensors, like 30% being anonymous, 40% being verified, and another 30% being secured. And then based on that algorithm, the mesh network will decide when to allow a sensor into a higher orbit or cross-domain, on the cross-domain solution, which is what they use a lot in the intel community. Cross-domain is allowing a communication where you're either unclassified, secret, or top secret. So I use the same analogy that they use in the IC community to allow communication between different zones and different domains. So I use that same analogy to create what is now TripleEnablement, where a person, an identity, or an asset, or an endpoint can actually have 3 types of identity, and based on the identity, segmentation, that's how you allow them to come into the network.
That's so interesting. And so why are these zones and segmentation so important in TripleEnablement?
That's a great question, especially now that we have the zero trust architecture and zero trust that has been mandated. When you segment identity and allow identity to be segmented by zone, then you only allow those identities to communicate in the desired zone, therefore controlling the actual access that they have to the zone and the domain. So if you have different zone and segmentation, it makes it a lot easier for you to control the access control based on the zone, and allowing for the critical assets that you were trying to protect to be a more secure zone. And those assets that are not that important, probably in the anonymous or verified zone that anybody can come and use. So if they get compromised, it won't be as bad for the network or the communication status. But for secure zone, that means that you know exactly who is supposed to be in that zone, and validated to the point where access and entry into that zone is always being validated at real time. So it creates an actual zero trust capability. That's what we're trying to shoot for today on the zero trust network.
I know you mentioned zero trust. So what exactly makes TripleEnablement a good candidate for zero trust?
Well, segmentation. Zero trust is about actual micro-segmentation and segmenting the identities, and not only the identities, but the network and the communication vector that you're using. Because you segment, then you isolate who has access to what at what time. And if you apply access control, like attribute-based access control, role-based access control, and telemetry to that segmentation, then you can, on real time, decide who and what is in your network at all time. That way you're actually knowing who to trust and when to trust, and right. Everybody in the network is considered a threat with this identity of TripleEnablement, where allows you to allow only those assets that are at the secure side to have a higher level of security or entry into the network, whereas something like anonymous, somebody's coming into the network anonymous, they may only have access to public stuff that you're trying to expose to the network, thus segregating and targeting the things you want to target at real time, so the network could be protected based on the zones that you create, either anonymous, verified, or secure, making segmentation a reality, not just a theory.
Right. And when did it click for you that the solution for sensor development and TripleEnablement could be used for commercial cybersecurity solutions?
It clicked to me when I was working on cross-domain solutioning, where, you know, in the IC community, the Intel community, really, you have three ways to communicate. The Intel community has been doing segmentation and actually zero trust forever because they have more information they have to protect. In the Intel community, you have access based on the authority or the information you have access to. You could, anything that's unclassified, anybody could pretty much see and have access to it. But something that's secret, you need the level of secret validation and also access to be able to do that. And the same thing with top secret. So the information that flows between those three zones or those three channels are controlled very specific. And there's something called slippage that you don't allow something from the high side, which is the top secret, to move into the secret, or the secret move into the authorized or unsecured network. And that's the same thing with TripleCyber. So if something that is a secure network, if you want to protect it, you really control it at that level, and someone in the verified or anonymous zone cannot access it. So all you have to now apply is the access control to information on a continuous basis, and then that gives you the security that you need to protect that zone to only those things or those people, those endpoints that need to communicate in that area. Mm-hmm. Where other things that you don't want to protect as heavily may be residing on the anonymous zone because they're not as critical for your network or for your person.
Mm-hmm. And moving on to TripleEnable, how does TripleEnable technology serve as the foundation for your zero trust roadmap?
It starts with TripleOAuth, which is the OAuth authentication that allows anybody to communicate or federate their identity with a TripleEnable blockchain and also a TripleEnable infrastructure or zone. Then we have a TripleEnable mobile device that allow users independently to have a personal, business, or parental device that they can actually protect using TripleEnable and zero trust capability. And then we also have a TripleEnable server that actually allows us to take any cloud computing like Microsoft Azure or AWS Cloud, or if you have on-premises network, that we can ingest the identities and resources from those networks, TripleEnable them, and then use another device or another application we have is called TripleGateway for access control, where the access is granted based on attributes, based on identity, based on telemetry, and based on roles. And that's how we protect and actually do real-time verification of people in the zero trust. So what you have is a network that is TripleEnable across, where identities, routers, anything from printers, users, computers are TripleEnable, and then you have TripleGateway that protects it on real time with telemetry information and also TripleEnablement to protect using a security operations center type or TripleSOC capabilities for real-time protection of the network.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to go into more detail. But what are your main goals for TripleCyber as a company this year?
This year, we're deploying two critical applications that are going to change everything. As you know, recently we had the fiasco with Signal, where some stuff were exposed through the defense network. We're deploying a chat application called Trespass, which is also TripleEnable. Mm-hmm. With Trespass, really quickly, you get what is called identity confidence score right on your chat application, so you can verify any individual you're talking with in real time. So every individual for any of the zones that you have, I have a confidence score that you click on that confidence score. It'll take you to an independent verification mechanism that gives you the actual confidence score, just like a credit score of that individual, and it tells you why that individual scores a 75 or 85% confidence, so you could trust that individual. Someone that is on the anonymous, of course, will have a confidence score from 0% to 20%, and somebody in the verified from 25% to 65% confidence score, and then from the secure will be 90 to 100%. So in lieu of that, that means that you'll be able, anybody will be able to identify really quickly with the ICS score inside any of our applications, not trespass only, but any of our application. Once that TripleEnable, you could validate that identity or that asset or that endpoint confidence score in real time by just clicking one button.
In addition to zero trust, what cybersecurity trends are you responding to with this roadmap?
Well, the biggest challenge we have is microsegmentation. That's the biggest thing that everybody's doing with zero trust, trying to segment every asset and every endpoint inside a network, microsegmentation. So the access to any endpoint or any asset, then it's in real time, and then you get to decide in real time if you need to query that asset to validate your identity at any time. That's how come telemetry is so important. A lot of times on the zero trust, they leave telemetry out where, I'll give you a good example. We had an employee that was supposed to be working from home, and they logged into our network in the local area here in Tysons. And about 2 or 3 hours later, they logged into a network, but our telemetry system identified that they were actually logging in from Europe. So automatically our system using TripleEnable was able to pick that up and say, no, this person needs to be re-verified on time to make sure that it is the right person, because this person just logged in 3 hours ago here in the United States, and now they're in Europe. So the challenge automatic with TripleGateway was able to challenge and validate that person on real time to make sure they are the real person that they were supposed to be. That's the telemetry, which is triple telemetry, what we're using. It's so important on top of the access control that we're using for actual zero trust. And that's a continuous process that we have to undertake. It's not a one-time, and once you enter into the network, it's a continuous process that anytime you see some anomaly inside the network, you should be able to challenge, because verification of zero trust is continuous, nonstop.
Right. And how do you see threats evolving, and how is TripleCyber planning to address them?
The biggest threat right now we have in this environment is post-quantum. Post-quantum is a game changer along with artificial intelligence, AI. That has changed the game in a point that what the access and the power you have in computing right now is monumental and exponential compared to what we had before. So with post-quantum, a problem that used to be solved in years will now be solved in hours. So threats are going to be more sophisticated. So you need a mechanism to be able to protect against the post-quantum impersonation and all the other vectors that are out there for security. So a lot of work is going into AI right now to get it moving faster, but the thing that this leaving behind is what security mechanism are they using to go ahead and avert or protect against post-quantum and AI. And one of the things we're doing is we have a TripleQuantum PKI infrastructure we already deployed to protect against quantum computer AI right now for impersonation and for deepfake and all that other stuff that are vectors right now in compromising the network.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be educated on PKI because it really does affect everyone.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation with my chief technology officers, Dr. Lasky, and also with my lead engineer, Dr. Bruce, coming up here in a couple of days. We'll be talking extensively about TripleQuantum PKI and how that's coming along with the TripleGateway and the TripleEnable server, how they play a role in zero trust and protecting against post-quantum.
And what sets TripleCyber's approach apart from other cybersecurity solutions on the market?
Right now, I know that the SIEM is a big deal, and also SOC, which is Security Operations Center. How you protect endpoints and how you protect the network from actual penetration on a live vector. We have a lot of competitors that are doing that right now, so we're going into that game to create our own application like TripleSOC and TripleSIEM and TripleFederate to actually be able to play in the market to protect networks end to end. And that's one of the things we're looking for 2026, 2027 to actually do a complete SOC integration of applications that protect not only the network. Our focus right now is more on the TripleQuantum and PKI and the access control through TripleGateway. But on the future, in the next year or two, we're looking really hard to go into the SOC and the SIEM vectors to compete in those applications as we're going to the future.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned already some of the products that are in the pipeline, but is there any products you'd like to highlight that are coming up this year?
This year,
like with TripleQuantum
absolutely.
PKI?
TripleOAuth is already ready to go. TrustPass is also ready to go. I'm really excited about those two products. TripleEnable mobile for a person is also ready to go, where you can add your asset and protect them, like your email, your phone, and also your domain, and also domains, and also social media like LinkedIn and X and Instagram, that you could add those assets and protect it with post-quantum encryption. Those are key things that we're looking right now that are ready to go, that we're testing and should be deployed in the next few weeks into the market. TripleQuantum is probably the highlight, because that's the thing that's going to drive a lot of the other application for protection, because everything we do in our application stack will be protected with TripleQuantum PKI.
Can you explain to me the difference between TripleEnable for mobile and TripleEnable for server?
TripleEnable for mobile is targeted more at the person, and TripleEnable server is targeted more for network protection and industry. For instance, if you download our TripleEnable mobile and you get an anonymous, verified, or secure account, you're protecting your personal asset, like your credit card, like your email, like your phone, like your social media accounts, anything to do with you that you have valid entry that identifies you. Where TripleEnable server is ingesting and TripleEnabling current networks, like anything that a company may have in AWS or the cloud in Microsoft Azure, or if you have on-prem infrastructure, you can take any of those assets and resources in your network and take them and TripleEnable them. Whereas mobile is personal, TripleEnable server is strictly only for businesses, government, and on-premises networks.
And I know you already mentioned TripleGateway, but can you tell me a little bit more about that product?
TripleGateway is a Genesis gateway for access control. It's an attribute-based access control server. The attribute-based access control server, you create policies against what you want other people to actually have access. The policy dictate, based on attributes, what you have access, don't have access, and also has a role-based access control that allows you to dictate what you have access to in the network, as well as identity-based access control. We just added telemetry-based access control, so real-time, something changes on the network, automatically telemetry is used as an attribute to make a decision if you have access to a document, access to a server, access to an endpoint. So TripleGateway is the mechanism we do access control for the entire environment that we are TripleEnabling for the network.
Right. And we're excited to talk about the new TripleEnablement chat application that you mentioned.
TrustPass.
TrustPass, yes. Can you give us a glimpse into what it can do?
Well, TrustPass does everything that you would do with WhatsApp or Signal, even Telegram. There's two main differences with TrustPass that I love, is that you can move from different zones in chat in different zones at the same time. That means that if you want to talk anonymously in an anonymous zone and you don't want anybody to know who you are, you can move to the anonymous zone in the same application and chat. And if you want to create a group that is anonymous people because you don't want to share some type of information to the general public, you could do that. On the verified side, you could do the same thing. And verified is similar to know your customer, right? We have a piece of information that we know about you, like your phone and your email, that you verify using OTP or some other type of vector, and that confidence score is not the same as secure. Secure allows you to be 100% because you validate yourself with a government ID, but you are able to chat with any of those three zones at the same time, or pick the zone that you want to chat on, and to be communicating on the chat. It does group. It does audio, it has video, it has presence. But the biggest thing that it has a way that you know 100% that if you want to know who you're speaking with, you know 100% by just pressing one button. You make a phone call, and when the phone call comes in, it says it's TripleEnable secure. You know exactly who you're talking with because that person verified themselves with a government ID. So there's no way they can mask or send spam or anything like that because you know exactly who they are.
Right.
And most people that are doing bad things normally don't want to give their identity back or to you so you know who they are.
And why do organizations have to be triple enabled? And what risks do they face if they don't adopt this approach?
Well, I mean, triple enabled gives you segmentation that we're looking for. You should not trust anything that's communicating with you. I don't care who it is. But what TripleEnable does, it allows you as a person or as a company to actually dictate how you want to communicate at what level. There are things that you don't want to share with anybody. There are things, even when I go into Google, for instance, they're tracking everything you do. So instead of giving you identity, you may want to give them your anonymous identity until you know who you're talking with, and then you move and give them your secure identity. So as a person or business, you should have control of exactly who you share your data or your identity with when you're ready to share it. So that's a lot of people asking, why do anonymous? Because you're going to do some crazy stuff. But anonymous to me is just as important as secure, because there are times I don't want to share my identity with anybody until I know who you are, because they're collecting information about me all the time. So if I have an anonymous identity, they're not going to collect anything because it's truly anonymous. But once I verify that there's no ill intent or it's not a bad actor, then I'll share it secure or verified, and then I know I'm talking to the person or they're talking to the right person, vice versa. So that's triple enablement, and this vector is so important going forward. And it's going to revolutionize how we actually communicate on the internet, because we're going to do the same thing on the web, because one of the things we got targeted for 2027, 28 is triple browser, which allows you to actually communicate in a browser using either one of the three vectors, either anonymous, verified, secure. So when somebody is in the triple browser secure, you know exactly who's communicating in that, to be a business or a person, which is going to be critical in the future.
So you already began answering my next question, but where do you see TripleCyber and its impact in the cybersecurity industry in 5 years?
Well, I see the biggest impact in fintech, in health, and also in government. What we're building right now is going to be impactful for financial sector, especially when banks are trying to validate identity and validate transaction. With TripleEnable on the secure side is going to be very critical, especially for health record with IML and MIL spec that they have, that to verify or allow who gets to see your personal health record. TripleEnablement allows you to control exactly at what level is seen by validating on real time the person or persons that see your record, which is critical. From the browser and internet capability, we're looking to expand our browser. We'll have our own browsers here in the next 2 or 3 years that will compete with the common browser. But more importantly is that you'll be able to pick how you communicate in a browser. When you want to be completely anonymous, you just press one button and you're communicating in the browser anonymous. And when you want to interact with people that are validated with real identity, you move to the secure browser, and that secure browser actually validates everything. And in fact, it reduces the need for certificate-based SSL, which post-quantum, one of the things we're doing with TripleQuantum is moving to certificate-based SSL or certificate for you to, instead of using the certificate that they use now. With post-quantum and our technology, you're not going to need certificate to be able to authenticate our communication, because that is already done through the triple enablement of your secure identity.
And what's your vision for TripleCyber and how they can transform security practices across different industries?
Well, like I was saying, in the health, fintech, and the government entity is going to be a game changer. We do a lot of work right now in the IC community, in the Intel community, and there's a lot of need for security and making sure that the right players and the right people are getting into the network. Being able to control not only on the person but on the network, who come in to your network or who you're communicating on real time is a game changer. And also getting a confidence score of any device that you communicate with or you communicate with on the network or it's on the person is also going to be a game changer, because it's going to be on real time that you could do that. Just like you carry a credit score, you're going to be carrying an identity confidence score for your identity. I think it's going to change the game across the board.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey and giving us a deeper look into the why behind TripleCyber. Do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to add?
No, I mean, it's great times. I see a lot of great things coming. TripleCyber is going to really be a disruptor in the next 2 or 3 months. Stay tuned to TripleQuantum PKI. That is coming here in the next month or so. But I'm more excited for Trespass because I know that some of the chat applications that are out there have some serious vulnerability, especially Trespass is going to be post-quantum encryption end-to-end, and also that confidence score and being able to communicate with people at the level that you're supposed to is going to be critical. So I'm really excited about that. So stay tuned.